Good afternoon. I'm sitting here with Anna Simeone Abbruzzese and Nancy Simeone Anderson, and we're going to talk to them about their growing up in Cohasset and being actually born, raised, and growing up in Cohasset. And Anna, if I could start with you, if we could talk about your grandfather was here in Cohasset, and when did he come here, and how did
Well, he came in the early 1900s, and the story that we have, Nancy and I have, is that he went to live with some relatives in Watertown, Massachusetts, and he sold strawberries on a wagon, a horse and wagon, which I think is kind of romantic.
Yeah, I know.
And he would load up his wagon once a week and come to Cohasset and sell his wares, and he fell in love with the town because it reminded him so much of his hometown in Italy.
Oh, wonderful.
It's kind of
That
neat.
is a good story. So now, then your father came here.
In 1904, and he came through Boston with $12 in his pocket, and he went to stay with some relatives, which I'm not sure about yet, in Newton. And maybe that was the circuit that they all completed. I have no idea. But he did stay there for a little bit, and then he came to Cohasset, where my grandfather had purchased a fruit market, where the Atlantic Mortgage Company is now on Main Street.
So we have a picture of that.
No, that's not the
Oh,
picture,
this
though.
one?
We don't have that
Oh,
picture.
we don't have
That's
it, but the
thing.
fruit market. Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
see, that's not, we don't have that.
Ah,
But that was on Main Street next to the Historical Society, one of the houses.
so here is a picture, though, of
That is my uncle. And the little guy right
brother.
here is our brother, Lou Simeone, and he was 4 years old in that picture. So that makes it what year, Nancy?
1920.
Okay, no, because he was born in 1920.
He was born in 1920.
Okay, so this
actually.
is 1924.
1924. That's
Yeah.
when I was born.
Yeah. And this market is located where Twist is. If I'm sure everybody's familiar with Twist on Main Street,
yep.
and that's where that is. And they purchased, my father and my uncle purchased all the properties, and they had rental properties as well. And they purchased that property as well as this property next door, which is 31 South Main Street. And right now it is a wine store. And they purchased both of those, made storefronts out of them. I don't know how popular they were with the townspeople when they did that. And that's where Nancy and I and my brother Lou grew up, right on Main Street,
Right downtown Cohasset.
downtown
Downtown,
Cohasset,
yeah.
yeah.
Now, did they call it downtown Cohasset then, or did they call it Cohasset Village?
No, it was downtown.
Downtown.
It was called the center.
Ah, the center.
Yeah, the center.
So we have a picture here, a lovely picture here.
I love this picture.
Now, Nancy, you're not so. But now, what was the story about when Anna was born? We love that. I love that story.
I
You
do
love
too.
that story?
I do too.
Yes.
Well, I thought, my mother said the stork was going to bring a baby
Yeah.
to us. So she told me to sit outside and watch for the bird, which I did for 5 hours. And I never saw a bird come by, but the doctor came to the door and he said, "You missed it. You have a baby sister." And that was February 5th, 1935. I remember that. But I never saw the stork.
So now you grew up downtown in the center of the downtown.
you can call it village.
Okay, the
You can call it
village.
downtown.
Or downtown. Yes.
Right.
Downtown.
And tell us what downtown Cohasset was like at that time. Obviously,
beautiful.
it was your.
It was absolutely beautiful.
Well, as you can see from one of the pictures, it was just tree laden. It was
Yeah,
beautiful.
tons of trees.
It was lovely. There was a two grocery stores, actually. There was an A&P on one side, and there was a First National store on the other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when women got all dressed to go to the market every day. And they shopped at the market every day. And I can remember our mother
Yeah.
getting all dressed, taking her house dress off,
To go to
getting
the
her best
A&P,
just
yeah.
to go to the store. But I grew up just riding my tricycle up and down Main Street. And there was a drug ice cream store at the corner, which was called Call's
Drugstore. Yeah.
and I would borrow. I would get a nickel from my father and go and buy an ice cream cone
Right.
once a day.
And we had two ladies that lived on Highland Avenue, and they had an electric car. And every day at 4 o'clock, everybody in the neighborhood would go out to watch it. Come by and would come down and toot, toot, toot down the street. They'd go to the Central Market and they'd get their groceries and go back up the street. And we all went outside to watch it because it was very unusual.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never heard of anyone who's ever had an electric car.
Until today,
Well,
virtually.
until today.
Yeah,
Right,
just
right.
barely
Yeah,
new.
yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
It was
what,
oval shaped. And they had flowers in the windows. And it was just beautiful. And the two ladies drove it. One lady drove it.
who were they, Nancy?
Gammons. Their name were Gammons sisters.
Hmm.
But I never got their first name. Did you?
No, they always
No.
were Miss Gammons.
Yeah, Miss.
They never
Miss
had a first
Gammons.
name.
Miss and Miss. Yeah.
I don't, but that's what.
But it was.
That's our
But
entertainment.
it was fun. That was entertainment every day at 4 o'clock
Yeah.
Mm.
to see this car go by.
But you all, did they have parades and all sorts of things
Oh,
downtown?
Memorial Day.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, that's
So you-
about it.
yeah.
And I think, I don't know, we just had a lot of fun. We played outside a lot.
Yeah.
And where the parking lot is in Cohasset now, in the back parking lot, was all field. And that's where we played softball and climbed trees
Yeah,
Mm.
all the time, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
You did,
You
I
did. I
did.
climbed trees. You
I
didn't
didn't
climb
play.
trees because you were a lady. But it was just a small knit
Beautiful town.
center, and everybody knew
Everybody
everybody.
knew everyone, you
Yeah.
know.
I mean, you could drive by actually every house and you knew everybody
we
lived
knew
in
everyone,
everybody
right.
lived in what house.
And there was no danger ever
Yeah.
that you knew of.
So now, when you were of school age, you went to school initially at the school, which is where the
Well,
present.
I went to the Osgood School
Okay.
on Ripley Road.
Okay,
Joseph Osgood
Right.
School.
But it was called the Ripley
I
Road.
think
Oh,
it
the
was
Ripley
the
Road
Ripley Road
School,
School,
right.
right.
so you walked to
I
school.
walked, yeah.
And what grade did you start there?
Kindergarten
Mm-hmm.
until I think it was the 6th grade.
Mhm.
And then we went to the
Osgood
high school.
Yeah.
The Osgood, was Joseph Osgood High
Mhm.
School?
Yeah.
On Summer Street.
Elm Street.
Elm
Elm-
Street.
So this school was was where the police station is now,
Right.
and
And
this
it was
is
7 to 12.
7
Yeah.
through 12.
Yeah.
And Anna, did you go also?
I went there, 7th grade, and in the 11th grade, we went up here.
Yeah. They
At
to
11th grade.
They had to tear it down,
Yeah.
I think, then.
Yeah.
So you went to the,
In 1954 was the first class to graduate
From here.
from here.
Yeah.
but ultimately this school turned into 9 through 12, or did it start 7 through 12?
It started 7 to 12.
7 to 12.
Yeah.
And Nancy, and you worked here. At the high school.
Not at.
But at this
not
high school.
one. I worked at this high school.
Mm-hmm.
I worked at the elementary school also.
Oh, really? When did you start at the elementary?
19,
At Deer Hill School?
Let me see, 19.
No, Ripley Road.
Oh, at the Ripley
I
Road
think,
School.
I'm trying to think. 6.
Nancy, Kathy.
57, 1957 I started there.
Mhm.
Then I worked there 5 years, then I came up here and worked until another 10, 12 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah,
Yeah, that's, yeah,
it was a good school.
it was nice,
Um,
yeah.
But it
So-
was just the front portion.
Yeah, it looks
That's it.
nothing like it
There-
does
nothing.
today.
There was no
No,
courtyard, there
right.
was, yeah.
It was Mr. Ripley was our superintendent.
Of the school
The whole
system.
school, oh, yeah.
And principal.
Yeah, all,
And principal of all the schools?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
yeah.
So the school had one superintendent and one
One
principal?
principal, yeah.
Wow.
No, the principal was
Well,
Catherine Mulcahy was.
after a few years, yeah, we got,
But he was superintendent and principal of the high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So when you when you graduated from high school, then what did you do? Where did you go?
I went to school in Boston. I commuted. I wanted to live in Boston, but my father said, you have a perfectly
No
good
way.
home here.
No way.
Why would you want to live in Boston? So I said, okay. So I commuted. We commuted on the train, and we had the same group. We had more fun. But I did live in the last year, which was a treat.
And
and I went to Boston also for
Yeah.
2 years.
mhm.
And I couldn't live there either. No way.
I see you.
I know. Oh, but not many people
Yeah.
did.
But what's wonderful is that you both raised your families here, which is great. It's
Yeah.
like virtually
I know.
that ends up being 4 generations
Right.
in this
That's right.
town,
I know.
which is
It's
really
unusual.
Yeah, which
It
is
is
really
unusual.
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
And our kids
Yeah.
and our children all grew up together, which was nice.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And even now your grandchildren, or so that makes
Yeah.
5
Oh, that's right,
generations.
another
Right.
generation.
Yeah,
right.
that's fabulous.
And great grandchildren I
Yeah,
have.
that's
yeah.
right.
Yeah, but they don't go to school here,
Not yet.
do they?
Not
Because they're
yet.
not smart enough.
They're not
But
smart.
mine are.
They're only 2.
Well, I have to tell you, it's really, I love hearing stories and talking with people who have such roots to this town. And you know, I wonder, what is it about Cohasset? Is it the salt sea air? What is it about Cohasset that's so endearing to so many people?
I know.
Well, I have to tell you that growing up, I thought it was very boring.
I did too.
Because there was really, unless you had TV and could watch Howdy Doody at 5 o'clock, or play baseball, or marbles in the driveway and that kind of thing, there wasn't that much to do for teenagers.
Well, my dad had a movie theater, also. I don't know,
No.
There was a silent movie theater.
at the town hall
Wow.
for a few years. He had silent films.
Yeah.
And then when I was 16 years
That was
old,
your time, not my time.
when I was 16, he had his first talkie movie, which was Whoopi with Eddie Cantor.
Was
And I
it
could
really?
invite all my friends for the movies free.
Was it?
Yeah, yeah.
Where was I?
You couldn't come.
Okay.
It was too risky, the
Oh,
movie.
okay. Risque.
Risque.
Okay.
But I remember that, but I don't think it lasted too long.
No,
Few
because
years.
Loring Hall put him
Oh, that's right.
out of business.
Yeah,
Yeah, because the town hall was not conducive
yeah.
to movies, sound movies.
Yeah.
We had a woman play the piano all the time during the silent movie.
It's kind of fun.
It was something. It was really something.
So you felt for teenagers, you had the beach, or you had.
Well, we had the beach. Of
Yeah.
course, I mean, you rode your bike to the beach. You rode your bike anywhere. It
Yeah.
wasn't like, oh, Mom, I need a ride, because my mother didn't drive, number
oh,
one.
I know it.
I don't know that I'd want to drive with her anyway.
no, no.
But,
No.
no, but you rode your bike anywhere
Yeah.
that you wanted to go.
And
And
you
we
know-
did. We were lucky. Now I think how lucky kids are to grow up in Cohasset. They go sailing, they go swimming, they go surfing, they go fishing. They could hop a train. We used to hop the train
Yeah,
to go to Hingham to the movies, and it cost, what,
yeah,
10
that's
cents?
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you could go to Hingham to Loring Hall for a quarter, because the movie was 15 and the train was 10.
And the train was 10, yeah.
Yeah, so that was one good thing, that you could go out of town.
For 25 cents.
Yeah.
25 cents, yeah.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
a big deal.
I know it. I know it.
I
So,
know.
Now, did the train run to Boston as well for you to?
Yes,
so that you
yeah.
could just go down to the train station, which
Yeah.
was in front of the prison.
Where the barber shop at
Yeah.
the art center
Yeah.
is? Yeah.
My
Yeah.
mother and I would go to Boston maybe once a month.
Mhm.
And she, shopped, and we'd have lunch there, and we didn't take,
You never took me
because you
anywhere.
were a brat.
Oh,
I know. You were too small.
Oh, I guess.
You'd get lost in
you
the
were a
shuffle.
baby.
I guess.
yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it's again just wonderful to be able to get an insight
Yeah.
into growing up here, and it's amazing to hear stories about then, and you're experiencing
Yeah.
all of this to today, and seeing your own children, raise their families in the area.
It is. It's a treat. It's special now. That
Yeah.
I look
I know
back at it. It really is.
So
I thought it was
Yeah.
boring when I was growing up, when I was a teenager.
Mm.
And I said, oh, I will never live here, never. But then I wouldn't move from here.
Well, I think
know
isn't that funny? What is it that happens?
I don't know.
And even for my decade, you left, and I was like, oh, thank goodness I'm gone. But then 23 years later, I thought, I want to go back there.
I
It's
know.
really, there's
I know.
something
You do.
that draws
It's
you
just
back
drawing
to
you
Cohasset.
back, that's right.
Yeah. So
It's the ocean and the harbor.
we have to
and-
put the we're not quite sure what that definition is, but
I know.
it's something inside.
But the people too, because I can remember my father had a liquor store.
Mm.
After the ice cream store, he had a liquor store, and people would come in with produce and chickens and eggs and fish, and you always had an exchange. I'm
I
sure
know.
they got a 6-pack in exchange for it or something.
I know.
But that's the kind of way of
Town
life
it
that it
was,
was. Yeah.
And the doctor would come to your house if you were sick, Dr. Reed.
Yeah.
And he'd take a pill and give you a pill. He'd say, these are harmless. And he'd take it and then he'd give you one. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So they probably were harmless.
Little placebo pills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have to thank you very, very much for taking your time to do this. I know we unearthed a few photographs, and it's been really fun to see, see the town from your eyes as little girls, and hearing your stories. And Nancy, you always have us in stitches. Taking over the taxi. I thought the taxi stories were really quite humorous.
Oh, we didn't even talk about the taxis.
Oh, I know.
You were driving at 14. That was a
I
good
was
story.
driving
Yes.
at 14. I used to drive, I know, and I'd get 50 cents.
That's big.
And I did other things too, but I'm afraid I won't tell you.
Why?
Well, I used to deliver liquor. I know, for my father, because he couldn't walk. He had polio,
Oh.
see, and he had problem walking. But I was 16 then, and he'd have me run in with a bottle of wine for Mrs. So-and-so.
Don't say it.
I won't say.
Would be incriminating.
I know, but I did a lot, I didn't even collected bills for him.
Well, that's
Because I had a lot of courage then, and I'd knock on the door and say, you owe my daddy $150, and they'd write out a check and hand it to me, and
wow.
yeah. And my father never said, here's $1 for you, never. He was very generous too, but we never did things for money.
Mm.
We just, like you have to do with kids now, you have to give them a $5 to
Walk the
take
dog.
your groceries outside, or,
Mm.
Yeah.
I know.
But the taxi next door to our house
That was a riot.
whole other chapter, and it's just too bad because there were more characters
They should
that
have been in the movies.
lived in that house. Because of where the train was, they had 3 taxis. They were red Plymouth Dodge cars,
Yeah.
and they were the shifts right here.
Oh, yeah.
And
I used to strip the gears
yeah.
all the time.
And the woman that owned the taxi would just grab you off the street
Yeah.
and say, we've got to pick up so-and-so at the 5:11 train
Yeah.
that's coming in from Boston. But Nin, I don't know how to drive. Sure you can.
Oh, yes, you can drive. I've seen you driving.
Yeah. But anyway, you could do that then.
You could
And
just,
she
brought up
had-
in
and
charges, yeah.
on Sundays, she'd have 5 of her friends and relatives, and they would sit in the living room and watch Liberace on television. And it was just comical. And they say, "Oh, let's watch Liberace. He's got his with the
Candelabra.
piano with the candelabra on." And we would get hysterical because we could hear it out the window. We would laugh and our
They're
heads
so
off.
funny. They were
I
so
know, just sitting, we'd sit on our porch and just to listen to them. 'Cause
Yeah.
they were so funny. "Oh, there he is, there he is." And they'd be waving to him on television.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was better than a movie.
to have that next door.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Now,
she
do you
was
wonder-
wonderful. We loved her. Nin, her name was Nin.
She was a Jason.
Yeah.
She smoked cigarettes all the time,
Yeah.
yeah. But she was so good to everybody.
was
She'd always be
character.
making a pie for somebody, and she was a sweetheart. I know.
But that's a whole other chapter.
I know.
D-
it.
downtown living.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah.
Because you would tell me also about, you would trade comic books across the street
Oh,
with a
yeah.
rope.
Yeah, because where the mortgage company is now and where our house was, Billy McAuliffe, who works for the water department, he and I used to exchange comic books
Oh,
back
yeah.
and forth.
Yeah, we all did. Because they
Yeah.
were a nickel or a dime.
Yeah.
They were a dime, so they were a lot, you know.
And that rooftop is where we spent VJ Day. I'll never forget it as long as I live.
Looking at the parade through town.
Yeah, the fire trucks and the police cars running through town and toilet paper flying in the.
When the war was
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
Oh, I know.
You remember that?
I know. I can
Yeah.
still see them. I know it.
Yeah. So
I know
anyway,
it.
but we
And
could go on and on.
I
but
know,
I know you don't have the time.
Well, I really appreciate your coming here today and
Well, it was
being-
fun.
going through all these photographs with to make this happen, and part of our living history archive. So you'll have
There
to.
you go.
There we go.
And we thank you very
Be in
much.
history.
Yes. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. John Bob.